How's it going, fam? Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions. And of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back. And these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. Today, we're going to talk about God. Okay, so today I had a lot of downloads. So I do have a lot of subjects that I do want to put out to you guys. But I really wanted to talk about this because it's been something that I've been reading about. And it's something that I've always had questions about, like, what I don't like. So it's been something that's been a part of me for a very long time, and it's actually gotten me into trouble before. Anyone who knows me knows that, like, I don't like to do something just because everyone has told me to do it. Though that concept was instilled into me later on in life, but it didn't, it never served me, right? It's always good for you guys to ask questions and do research about things. I find that, like, a lot of us, I know for myself, I say a lot of us, but I know people agree with this because I have many people who are like, well, yeah, why did I think that? Just because someone else thought it, right? It sounds crazy, right? But we do that. And I realized after, like, having the awakening, I started questioning a lot of things, and I started to question God. Not so much of what God was saying to me, but who God is. Where did it come from? Like, I want to know where I came from, right? Like, I want to start to know the questions that either the answers have been found but have not been dispersed to us in society, right? Because I feel like knowledge is power. You find with cultures, like, just look at cultures that are productive, or societies. You have the Israelites, right? Or you have secret societies like the Freemasons. You also have, like politicians, the one percenters. What is the one thing that these people have that the rest of us, I would call the peons, that didn't really, we don't know? It's knowledge. It has nothing to do with money. I read this book one time, and I forgot what the book is called, but essentially what the author was saying is, if you started everyone out on the same pay scale and you gave everyone, let's say, 20 to 50 grand, you could even give everyone in society 100 grand. That 1% that had all the money will have all the money again after a certain amount of time, because there's a certain knowledge base. And I feel when it gets down to brass tacks, it's about knowledge. Knowledge is power. And these secret societies, they have the knowledge. You think about, like, the smallest country that is huge, is the Vatican, right? The Vatican holds secrets and has secrets that the rest of us don't. And they have power. Why do you think someone that small of a country has power? If you cross the Vatican and you said some things that you shouldn't say, or you're trying to go against, you're gonna run across some problems, some huge problems. You want to know why? Because they have knowledge, power, and knowledge is power. When you start to disperse knowledge, that's why when you see a lot of people now, the millionaires are starting, the list is getting bigger, right? A lot of people are starting to become millionaires. Why? Because the information of manifestation, the secret, those types of things are being dispersed, right? Also, there is no choice. When God decides that he's going to allow information, which he has, right? The God that I'm talking about, my God, I like to call, is Yahweh, right? Now, I want a name to God. I like the name God, but God is, it's like our language, right? We have many names for God, but God is, I feel like the word is watered down. And it is. I've done research, and then I get the downloads, right? I have a communication with the divine. And when I have a question that doesn't make sense to me, it gets answered, which is amazing. And you can have that too when you get to a place of a spiritual awakening and you start to listen. And honestly, you guys, it all goes down to, really, it's not too far from the teachings of the Bible. These righteous men, what are they doing? And it goes back to the I'll get to that subject, but I want to talk first about information and power of information and dispersing of it. If you guys know something and you feel like you're a healer or a teacher, you guys teach. I'm going to tell you that manifestation lies within that one fact. teach. Just teach whoever you can. That will start out your process of manifestation, because you're giving back, right? And that is the power of giving and receiving. It's a universal law. It will help you. Look at like Israel, right? Pretty powerful. They call themselves God's people. That's pretty huge, right? And you think about the things that Israelites do. If you look at our, like, I don't want to separate, but just the teachings that I came up with as a comparison to someone in the Jewish faith or Jewish community, it's different. They do different things, right? Which is, they obviously circumcision. There's the difference in how they handle masturbation. They don't do it. And the way that they do relationships, the way that they stay within their community, all of that comes from the lessons and teachings of God, their God. And their God is my God too, right? Because I follow Christianity. Christianity comes from Jesus. Comes from the teachings of Jesus, right? And 1 AD is when the disciples of Christ, right? And that's where the first churches of Christ or Christianity came. Of course, you have the Roman Empire that wanted to kill the Christians, right? But after a certain time, it became a state religion. And you think about Christianity is huge. It's big and it means something, right? But you think about, I want to go to the source. Where is the source at? And a lot of my downloads too come off of what I'm talking about right now. Think about this, you guys. So my question was, at all times, I would ask when I was a younger man, when I was going to church, who is God? What is God's name? What does God mean? And they said, well, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is his teachings. And I used to say, BS, like, I want to know. And what it did for me is it put holes in the faith. And I didn't like that, right? Of course, if you're searching for holes, you're going to find it in anything. So it depends on how your perspective and how you approach things. That goes off of your attitude. And honestly, that attitude is no good, because then you're going to find holes. But if you go searching for answers, answers will come. So make sure that you're looking at stuff in a way, right? Don't come with the perceived opinion, because it's going to wash out information. So, all right. So I started to look into it. Who is this God, and where do the gods come from? Because there's multiple gods, right? It didn't make sense to me. And so when I started to do some research, I found that, okay, so it comes from the Israelites. They, I guess back in the day, they were called Canaanites. They may even be called Canaanites now, but in the place now where it's Israel, Jordan, Syria, all those places, right, which are called, like, where are the Holy Lands, they were called Canaanites. And they actually got their God, which is what we call God at that time period. They learned it from somebody else. And so this is from my understanding in my research, right? So if you're getting triggered or offended, go do research, right? And if it's triggering you, it's because it's supposed to. And that's making you want to come. If you are getting triggered by me and you don't even know me, you have to ask yourself why, right? Okay, so back in the day, this God's name, it goes from one name to another. God is just another word for Elohim. And so it started out with tetragrammaton. That was God's name, pronunciation, right? And so I guess the Israelites said that that it's too holy to pronounce or to be saying often. So they started to call God different names. And then it went to Yahweh. It's four consonants. Yeah, or four, is it consonants or vowels? I think it's consonants and it's YHWH, which is Yahweh, right? And Yahweh becomes, what is it? Elohim. And Elohim ends up becoming God after a while. But God, there's actual El means God. And then and then El goes into God. So I was like, wait a minute, there's so many freaking names. Are these different people? And so it is one God, right? But there are multiple deities. And that's where I started to get confused, because this is what happened for me. When I started to resonate with other deities, but I know that my God tells me 10:20 on the clock, meaning that everything 10:20, what does that mean? Everything that's going on right now is happening for the good of the collective. And if it pertains particularly to you, everyone that's in your immediate circle, even though that you might find opposition, everything's going on in a way that you don't know, because the higher bird's eye view, everyone, the collective, it's even around you, everything's working out for everyone. So everyone's going to prosper, right? Look into angel number 1020, and it might be an actual message for you. Okay, so I started to look at what does it mean, right? Like, why are there so many gods? And if there is so many gods, I want to know why I resonate with multiple. Okay, and I thought to myself, okay, I believe in past life and past life regression, right? I believe that we live multiple lives. And I do believe that if we didn't figure things out in the last life, it will repeat itself until we learn the lesson, right? So I say this is like, oh man, like even in the Bible, it says that you're going to pay one way or another for the sins that you commit. I believe that this happens in lifetimes. Think about this. Why do they give people double, or what do they say, double lifetimes or 5 consecutive lifetimes? I believe that you can go and be punished in this lifetime and be punished in multiple lifetimes afterwards. So just think about it. Why does the judicial system work that way? It must be similar to the actual judicial system of God, right? The divine order. I was also thinking to myself, okay, so who is the oldest gods? There must be multiple gods, and there must be wars within the gods. And I figured out that there was, because I resonate with the Greek, I guess, or what is that, Mesopotamian gods? I resonate with Zeus. I resonate with Apollo and Hermes. For whatever reason, since I was young, I was attracted to Zeus. I was attracted to Hermes, and I was attracted to mainly Apollo. And I thought to myself, why is that? Right? And maybe because in past lifetimes, I don't know why I've been saying actually. I'm not exactly sure, but laughing at myself right now. I thought to myself, wow, it must be a past life that I worship these gods, right? And now I'm in a different place today where I'm worshiping other gods. And so I said to myself, is it wrong? Or does it feels wrong because of old programming? And I know better than that. I know that if you have old programming and you don't want to believe in something new, that's actually a restraint. Restrictions. And restrictions aren't good because it keeps people in a binded place, in captivity or oppression. And that's not a good place to be at. So I had to learn, and I think that's why this video is being made, is that to know, you guys, that to know yourself is you're going to have to know your God as well. And just to say God and chop it up to, you know what, I'm supposed to fear God and I'm not supposed to know him, I think that's BS. And it's a lack of us coming to a place of lack where we don't look into the God that we're believing in, right? All right, so check this out. So I started looking into it and I said, who is the oldest gods? And the oldest gods, the first gods that they can think of, is the Indian or Hindu faith, which is Brahma. Who's the other one? Oh, I can't remember right now. It's the trifecta. I call them trifecta, or the triad of the Hindu faith. It's Brahma. I can't remember the other two, but there's 2 more, right? Do your guys' own research and you guys check it out. But those are the oldest gods, right? On record. And I thought to myself, okay, so if it's just a matter of time, Because if I was born in that early time period, I would, or if I was born in India, wouldn't I have the Hindu faith? If I was born in a different part of the country, I would have a different faith. So I don't think that there's any faith or there any God that how do I say? I don't think that there's supposed to be a wrong or right. So when we fight over religion, it's a cycle. I feel like it's things that keep us separate when we should be together, right? I understand now that, like, maybe in different areas, in different faiths, and different ethnicities, we have different gods because those gods deserve their respect, right? And maybe we're divvied up like that, right? Where we're supposed to have so many people worshiping this God and with so many people worshiping that God. I don't know. What do you guys think? It makes me think after a while, like, dang, like, you know, it's crazy because if there is a hierarchy like that, what happens when we're in the other side? Is there a point where we can become gods? Is there a point that we are God? Is Earth a life lesson? Multiple life lessons which could consist of a wide span of thousands of years to become a God? Are we in this type of video game? Does this make sense? It made me really think about it. And I was like, you know, it's really hard on this platform because they say that this platform is ruled by the devil, right? So that's Lucifer or Satan. Now, and you think about it, and I started to look in the names of these gods, and it tripped me out because I feel like the English language is washed down. I'm not sure if we're supposed to say this, but a bastard language, right? It's been so drowned out that even in manifestations, I had this hit today, this download. I believe that manifestation could come stronger when we get to the languages that are more primary, are more closer to God, per se. And when I say that, because English, it's been a washed down language, right? If you get closer to the languages that are closer spoken to God, why Latin? Why is Latin a dead language? I asked myself the other day. That's interesting, is it not? I feel like that language spoken in your manifestations might be something huge. I believe the Hebrew language. I think that those manifestations could be a lot stronger, a lot faster, and a lot bigger juice when you use a certain language. Now, this is just new information that's coming upon me, but it's something to look into. And you see that I'm following a cycle here, right? The same thing, the name with God, the same with face, and the same with even the way that I talk, right? So, yeah, I guess what I really want to do is just start opening people's minds, is to just look deeper into your own face. Where does your God come from? Who is your God? Why? And the crazy thing is my faith, the God that I believe in, Yahweh, he comes from a different culture than mine, right? The Israelites, and the Israelites got that God from someone else. So there is no difference between any of us. Like, yeah, we look different, right? Sometimes, but like on the inside, I think in the spirit platform, it's different, or it's not different. We're the same, but that's what the hard part about this platform is. And if this happens to be, whether it's Lucifer, Satan, or the devil, right? If you get offended or tripped out by it or triggered, hey man, these are just names. And if you're getting triggered by something so much as a name, that says a lot more about where you're at, right? I know I used to be the same way, and I just want people to start thinking about more than what's just given to you. I think that we need to expand our minds a bit more. The crazy part is when I was thinking about so there has to be, even when you think about these gods, there has to be something more alien going on. Think about the name Tetragrammaton. Doesn't that sound like symmetry or geometry? That sounds like something that would be, I don't know. It's like, and my first hits, I looked at sacred geometry. that name sounds alien, does it not? I thought that, and I keep thinking to myself over and over again, I believe that aliens exist. And I believe this, you guys. I believe that we are alien. That we're the alien culture. That we were made from the alien. Does that make sense? It's kind of trippy, right? It kind of scares me too, because it's like, whoa, like, maybe this isn't it. It makes you think more, right? I know it makes me think a lot, and it makes me think too is like that I just don't know at the end of the day. And I'm going to keep researching. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go as far as I can with it. But I believe that there are those multiple gods are the I would say galactic aliens that we don't really know about, right? And in this platform here, whatever the god is, whatever the name for Satan is or Lucifer, because they come from I think similar families, right? I think his name was Baal Hadad. Now these names, if you start to look, you guys, a lot of them are similar, because the three names come up is Yewa, Asherah, which is supposed to be Yewa's wife, right? They used to actually, there we go again. Back in the day, the Israelites, they stopped this, but they used to worship both Yahweh and Asherah, which was the wife. And so that there's Baal, what is it, Malak? And there was another one, but I can't remember it right now. But what I'm saying is there are multiple gods. And I feel like too, with your manifestations and when you're praying to certain gods or to the God, if whatever you believe in, it makes it more personal and it gives it more power when you get closer to the source. It's something to look into. It's huge. I think that's all I got, you guys. This is a little bit longer of a video, but there's so many downloads in what I just told you. And if it speaks to you, keep listening. You guys, I believe that we should keep looking, and we should look to the stars, because the stars were going to tell us what we need to know. And I believe there's multiple and bigger things out there than us. There has to be. And I believe this, man, that you're being tested right here and right now. This is your biggest chance. This is your biggest moment. I always say this. If it took a 450 trillion chance for you to be born, you won the lottery already. Your biggest test is right now. God's calling you to the forefront. If you're a leader, God's calling you. Teach. Don't come from a place of lack. Come from a place of love. Money and all those other things, they exist, and it's just energy. What really matters is love. Bring our humanity up. Bring others up. Don't be in competition. You know, there's so much more here. You are in the biggest test of your life, and I feel the more that you have a moral compass, the more that you expand your horizons, your mind, the easier this becomes. Easier in the aspect of you're not dealing with the old program, but it is hard because you have to start living in a different lifestyle, a one that is a lack, or not lack, but you're not in instant gratification anymore. It becomes a place of eliminating things that's so prominent in this culture. All right, guys, that is all I got. I love you guys. I'm going to talk more about this. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I love you guys. All right.